President Trump describes some members of the migrant caravan, but if you listen to the mainstream media, they're all angels fleeing cartel violence. So what is the truth? Joining me now, Fox News contributor and fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, Sara Carter, who was recently in Guatemala covering the caravan. All right, Sara, so, you've heard the media describe these people as, good people, women and children. Was that your understanding when you were seeing them face to face?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, there were women and children at the front end. I was in Guatemala. I was there for the second wave that was coming across the Honduran border. So I was right there in a town called Chiquimula, right on the Honduran border, as they were moving across. And they put the women and children's lives actually in danger. What these organizers of the caravan would do would put maybe 100 to 200 women and children, some disabled, some elderly, at the front of the group. And then the rest of the group, and this is what I saw with my own eyes, were men. I mean, there were roughly 1,400 to 1,500 men behind them. They would start pushing against the women and children. The Guatemalan government was telling them, please turn around, go back. You will not be allowed into the United States. But as in Europe, Central America has a process by which if you have papers, you can cross through the border system. So they didn't want the women and children to be harmed, so they processed the women and children through.
So it's literally women and children first, but not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all.
And so the men are really taking advantage and using the women and children as kind of the tip of the spear.
That's absolutely right,
okay,
Jesse.
So
absolutely right.
You talked about, the organizers of the caravan. Did you get any information on that?
Well, according to the intelligence officers that I spoke to on the ground, now I was with Guatemalan intelligence as well as other intelligence officials on the ground. They were informed that a lot of the leftist groups in Honduras, in El Salvador, were organizing these caravans. And it appeared to me to be very highly organized because, one, I speak Spanish. I know what's going on. There were people within the group that were kind of guiding the other men in the group. Now,
but what was the purpose of the left-wing groups in Central America for organizing the caravan north?
Well, they have multiple reasons. One, they want to divide the governments, conservative governments of Guatemala or Honduras, from the United States. They want to cause a ruckus.
That makes total. So it's about domestic politics and causing mass mayhem down there internally in order to maybe overturn some
Exactly. Exactly.
Is the president speaking about the caravan? Let's listen to the president of the United States, who's down in Florida, talking about this issue.
Gotta come in legally, folks. You can't come in that way. And by the way, caravan after caravan, and we pay these countries where they're formed, Honduras and all of them. We pay them hundreds of millions of dollars. They do nothing for us. They do nothing. They do nothing for us. They had a new one just formed in El Salvador. We pay them a lot. We pay them all hundreds of millions of dollars. They do nothing. And did you see? Mexico's trying, they are trying, and their military and their police stood guard, and the level of viciousness with the rocks being thrown in their face, their military was hurt, their police, their law enforcement, they were hurt. We don't put up with it. We don't put up with it. We don't want that in our country. We're not going to have it in our country. They broke through. Think of it. They broke through the Mexican military and the Mexican police. They broke through.
Okay, so the president, Sara, talking about, we've all seen the images of this, of these young men throwing rocks and bloodying up Mexican law enforcement officials. It seems like kind of a rowdy crew down there. It doesn't look like the kind of people that you want to say, oh, yes, come on into the country, as they're throwing elbows and rocks at Mexican law enforcement. When you were talking to people down there, what was the criminal element like, approximately?
I did see visibly MS-13 members within the group that I was with. A lot of them were very demanding. They said, we're going there, we're going to get jobs. They were also talking badly about President Trump. They were saying, if he doesn't give us jobs, we're coming into the country and we're going to demand our rights. And I said, well, what would it take for you to return home? I mean, you're coming to the United States.
Where have I heard that before? It sounds like I've heard that here in the United States.
It's our loopholes, Jesse. I mean, look, we have so many loopholes in our system, and they know it. And they play these loopholes, whether it's family units, which we've seen over a 40% increase this year in family units. They know how to play this game, and they're also being taught. So once they get into Mexico, and once they start moving through Mexico, believe me, the drug cartels are watching this, as well as the smugglers.
Of course.
They know
they wouldn't
this game.
get there without safe passage from the drug cartels, and then they got lawyers down there coaching them on what to say. What the left doesn't understand, though, is if you're a Central American and you come in with some family member, who knows if they're actually a family member, they're a minor, you have to stay. They have to let them here in America until their asylum case is heard. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys want to take that risk? You don't know who these people are. You got to vet them at a port of entry like every other person that comes. But for some reason, they don't want to get vetted when they're in the Texas border. I got to go, Sarah.
That's right. That's under the Ninth Circuit, and this is the reason why.
Another loophole. Another loophole. We got to close them up. We got to close the border and the loophole. Sarah, great reporting down there. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.